Hey guys, it's Special Friday. That means it's Medium Nancy Matz Friday. And today's topic is the price you pay to be a psychic medium. We'll be right back. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope everybody's sliding into this weekend. It was a long weekend away. My name is Sean. I'm going to be your host. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team. We are 45 strong up and down the state of California, which means if you have a paranormal need, we can help you. It may take us a couple days to get to you. California is a really big state. I'm just trying to flip around here. There we go. All right. California is a pretty big state. So, like a lot of people think of us, and I think Nancy can agree with this. When people think of us, they think of us kind of like Hawaii, because, there's that song California Girls, right? Surfing and all that stuff. Well, we do have beaches. We have beaches up and down the state, but we also have flatlands. We have farmlands. We have deserts. We have, high desert, low desert, mountains, everything you can think of. It's huge, like I said, huge state. So it might take us a couple days to get out to you. But in the effort, in the situation where it does take us a couple days to get out to you, we have great mediums on staff like medium Nancy Matz, Trish Dolis, Karen Clark, and others on staff who can call you and talk to you about what may or may not be going on at your place. And if it is paranormal, in most cases, they can calm the energy down until we can get out there and help you out. So, that way, like I said, it never takes us more than 1 or 2 days to get out to you. So that way things calm down, okay? All right, that being said, if you want to find us, just Google California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team. You're either going to find us under that or you're going to find us under California Haunts Radio. We are all over the place. That being said, if you're watching from Facebook tonight, and a lot of you are, and you like I can't keep saying this, and you like what you see and hear, there we go, I could never doing it backwards for some reason, and you like what you see and hear tonight, please be sure to give us some love, show thumbs up, heart, happy faces, things like that, and be sure to chat in the chat room. And if you haven't done so already, and you really like what you see tonight, please feel free to follow, because we're always looking for followers, okay? What that does is that puts us higher in the FYP. And what the FYP is it's part of the World Wide Web, but it's the main computer system at Facebook. And as you guys do more stuff, it catches that attention of those little men inside the computer. And the little men inside the computer distribute us out to more people. Okay? So it's just like I always tell you guys, you might be at home tonight, sitting on your couch, having dinner or whatever, and there's other people in the house that you think might be interested in the show, and you call them over and say, hey, there's this little show out of Sacramento that I think you should watch. And that's how, word of mouth spreads. Well, the FYP works similar to that. Also, tonight, there's people going to be watching from YouTube. I have more than 900 videos sitting over there, and they're all of this show. We've done a lot of videos over the last 4 years. Lots. And they're all different topics. I'm a journalist, photojournalist in real life, and I like to vary the topics that are on the show. This week alone, we had Bigfoot encounters last night. Night before, we were talking about demons and exorcisms and all that, all those things. And tonight, we're talking about what it takes to be a psychic and the toll it takes on you to be a psychic. So, we got a lot of varying things going on. And, of course, if you're watching from YouTube and you haven't done so already, please subscribe. We're always looking for more subscribers. The more the merrier. And I'm very active on YouTube. I'm active on the community page. I'm taking those videos that we have, and I'm putting them into categories so that you can find stuff better. If you're a big fan of Nancy, there's a Nancy Matz category in there. If you like cryptids, there's a cryptid category, etc., etc. So it's easier for you guys to find that stuff, because it even happens to me when I go in. There's so many videos, and when I look at it, it gives me a migraine. I'm just trying to sort through them. So yeah, that's something I'm doing. Okay. All right. So again, if you do that and want to share what we're doing, that'd be great too. Again, comment, give us some happy faces and things like that, because it makes us go to the FYP if off we go out to the Netherlands of the internet. Okay, and that works for everybody. Not only Facebook and YouTube, but TikTok and Twitch and all those other places. All right, that being said, we're done. I'm done talking. Oh, except for one thing. You thought I was done. There's two things. Next Thursday morning, 9:30 a.m., we're going to have coffee with the ghost hunter. It's just where you and I go one-on-one. Well, there'll be other people there probably, but we all sit down and have our morning coffee and have a chat. You guys can ask me whatever you want, and I will do my best to answer you. And it's just it's a private chat. Be going to Starbucks and hearing all the clanging dishes and people yakking. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. Check it out, California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team Meetup. I think there's a link at the bottom of this description for this show as well. There's a ticker on the bottom. And let me make sure it's the right ticker. Yes. We're just getting back out in the field to investigate. And I've been going through equipment, doing equipment checks. And there's some equipment that's going to be in need of repair and replacement. So I calculated the sum, which is $100. And if you guys could help me out a little bit, it's not required to donate. I'd appreciate it. That would be great because, I'm just trying to get the equipment going. And, I want to get out and help people. In fact, I'm going to be going out Sunday and doing a prelim Sunday afternoon. And to the family who has a younger child. And that's what we do this for, is to help people. So, yeah, we're just looking to upgrade our equipment a little bit. Just looking to upgrade. Okay, that being said, I keep saying that being said. I don't know why that's like stuck in my head. That being said, tonight's topic is of a lot of interest even to me because being sensitive myself, even though I don't practice it as much as Nancy or Trish or Karen do, I have my issues. I do have my issues, and I have this thing, and we'll be talking about this, what I call getting goosed by a ghost. And it can be really exhausting work. Really exhausting work. So let's bring Nancy on, and we can talk about this, because there's also some stuff that I've learned over the years that I can impart into this conversation that might interest you guys as well as Nancy. So, okay, here we go.
Oh, my head just goes, oh my God, this hair. I do have some, by the way, we have a big storm here. And maybe that's what's flattening my hair, but the TV is frozen and you froze about 3 times. And so
Wonderful.
If we blank out, do call me back and let me know, or somehow touch base with me.
Somehow we'll do something. And if you hear the stuff in the background, my neighbors have their radio on, so it's pretty loud. I can hear it through my walls.
Hear it.
Yeah, and I've got padding on the windows and stuff. You can still hear it in here. So,
really?
So if you guys hear that, yeah. And if our internet does blank out on my end, of course, you guys know the thing about my internet, it's everybody and their brothers on Xfinity. There's big news today. Hey, how about the big news today? The royal family. What a mess.
I do see her surviving, though.
Yeah.
After 6-8 months, I think Charles will be talking about stepping down. And William will take the crown. I know the predictions say Harry. I'm not getting it. I think the English people do not want his spouse over there. And so William, because of his loyalty to the Queen, the grandma, he will take the job. And if he couldn't do it for whatever reason, his oldest son would. So Harry's really not in the running.
Well, the thing is that the only thing with the oldest son is that there would be a regent appointed. And whether if Catherine's still around, whether that's Catherine.
Well, she's going to be around. Yeah.
The Catherine will probably be appointed the regent, or it might have to be someone of royal blood. So that's where Harry would come in if it ever went that way. That's where Harry would come in until George is 18.
Like I said, William would have to advocate, period,
or something
Harry to do
William,
it.
Yeah.
And
right.
Pardon me?
Yeah, but see, the son would automatically get in there. That he'd be the next choice. So that means Harry would have to be the regent, unless before William stepped down or Charles stepped down, they would appoint like the other prince, not Andrew, the other one, the youngest one, Edward.
I don't see it happening.
Yeah, so
I had a long conversation with you months and months back.
Yeah,
I just see the oldest son as a king.
Yeah.
So I see him down the road. In fact, he's going to fall in love with a redheaded lady. I don't know if she's the queen, but he just thinks redheads are great. And he's going to be a very congenial kind of a guy. I'm talking about the oldest son of William, because I
Hmm.
see him being crowned. So
Hmm.
William, the father, is very loyal to his grandmother and the firm. I do not see him stepping away, even if Kate passed away, which I'm not getting.
Right, right.
In
The
fact,
other
he's going to
thing,
take her on a wonderful trip after her treatment. And I don't know where they're going, but they're going to take us wonderful vacation to kind of get away for about a week or so. So I just see some really good things happening for these people. Not negative, bad, and wrong. I just don't get it.
well, you know, the
The
thing too.
soothsayers have given all this bad stuff,
Well,
and
the
I go,
thing
let's
too
be
that struck me
happy.
today is every time you see Catherine, her hair is
Yeah.
beautiful, absolutely beautiful
I
hair.
think she's going to, my friend said, I think we're going to see her with short hair. And well, she's
Well,
getting
we are, and that's what
chemotherapy.
I was thinking. Either she'll be bald, or she's going to have short hair, or it'll be
Oh,
some kind of wig. You know, in the
you
interim, till it
know,
comes
I
back.
hope if she has to go bald, wear it proudly.
Yeah,
Wear it proudly.
she can
And
wear them. They can like
give
change.
all the women of the world see if the princess can be bald
Absolutely.
and beautiful. Let's.
Well, that was the whole thing, and I think back to Princess Combrata from Star Trek.
Yes,
That's what
absolutely.
I think about is her because she wore bald so well. You know,
I,
so
my husband is mostly bald, and he does shave his head when it grows out a little bit. And I've always said to my friends, if bald was in, I'd be first in line because women
mhm.
hate to color their hair. And I have so much dark hair with my gray from the Indian, really dark, that I'm not even a pretty salt and pepper anymore. It's just, so I'll be coloring my hair for a little while.
No, I look like
But
Dracula. I get Dracula sides like right
yeah,
here. I look like Count Dracula. So yeah,
you wear a hat, no one can see your
that's
hair.
why. Like right
I
now.
told you, yeah, let it go so you don't have to worry about coloring it
Oh hell
screen.
no! I'm too vain for that. I'm too vain.
Women, we were
I'm
so.
too, I'm too, I'm
I'm
too
not so
vain.
vain as much as I don't want to have to think about it. So I'd rather color
My
my
mother
hair.
colored her hair until she was in her 70s. And then she
Not,
slowly, what she did, so, because one time she let it go and my brother had a fit. And so what she started to do was she started to color it lighter and lighter and lighter, so
ah.
there was a gradual movement to it. So the
I
kids
think
didn't
my
have a
mother
fit
did
over it.
that too. Now my Indian grandmother, she didn't go gray only at the temples in her mid 80s. And
Yeah.
come on, grandma, why did I get that gene? But they say after cancer and treatments, your hair color does change. And I started going gray after my cancer
Which
treatments.
reminds me, on this conversation we're having, Marisa, your package has arrived. We're just going to leave it at that.
Oh, thank you for reminding me earlier you had a prelim. I sent you back a note, the photograph of the house you want me to read. I
Yes.
couldn't tell where the front door was.
I couldn't
So we
either.
did. Okay, you need to look on a map somehow and tell me where the front door is.
I'm going to
Because
try and get on Google Earth to see if I can see it.
okay,
Because you can move it
there
around on
is
Google Earth.
there is two spirits in there, and the little boy is being affected by the man being angry, but the woman is saying, "Be quiet, be quiet, quiet," and he's looking back and forth. Who are you talking to?
Hmm.
So the skinny old man is frustrating the little boy or the energy, and then the
Hmm.
grandmother, this woman, tiny little thing, she's, this little kid is going to be mama, mama. So do me a favor if you can find out more. For the audience, yes, I'm a rope viewer. I've done this for a lot of times, and I don't know how I do it. I don't care what state it is. All I care about is what's north. Where's the front door? I need to so I can give her directions.
And you guys have
And
to remember, when I do this with these houses, I don't give Nancy the address. She just gets a picture of the house.
no,
That's,
no, I
that's all
don't
she
really.
gets.
Doesn't matter.
She's got no info. No, no info.
And I'll tell her where to look because the spirit man is. He's not necessarily walking, and he likes to crawl. And he's just a nasty. I don't like him at all. Sorry, I didn't mean that. Spirit people, they're just people,
Give
and
me this.
sometimes you like
Come
somebody.
see Nancy. She calls you nasty. Come see Nancy during the show. Let's see if we can put on a real show about psychic mediums. Bring them on in.
I we want this is a topic that was brought up to us last week. A
Yes.
charming little lady in the chat room named Michelle. She said had a question for me. How do you feel after doing a lot of readings, or have you? And I said, well, actually, for me, I just get so energized. I've told you that to step into another soul is sacred honor, and
Hmm.
I literally live by that. motive, that boutique, and then sometimes, yes, people can be difficult, and I look at it not as a personal challenge, but I call it a card top file in my head, like a Rolodex.
Mhm.
Okay, what's the topic? You know, I have so much in my head. I sometimes wonder if my brain's going to split open. But yet, I had two ladies, on the 18th, I think it was, and one of them was difficult. And after I talked to her, I thought, I don't know who's telling me how to say this, but I was so grateful that I helped her. And so, with that, when I got off the phone with two of them, one after another, I realized that excitement of helping, because I call it service. Thank you for my life and my sanity. And if you wish I worked for the rest of my life, when I told God, I don't really want to die yet. I was so young and
Mhm.
at 40 years old. And, I've stayed committed to this, even though I have to make a living. I tell, you're hearing me? If I was winning some money, in lotto, it would be a lot less money. But at the same time, I get a rush and it stays with me. And then after a couple hours, I can relax. I can't just
Mhm.
turn it off. It's almost like the energy must bellow out from me. Um, but I am going to be 76 next month, April, end of April. And even though I've been working a lot lately physically, and it's amazing to me, and I think part of it is doing this job. And I'm physically very active person for my age. And at some point, I think that if I were to, I'm saying this, and then we're going to back up. And
Mhm.
what I'm saying is, I think that I was telling Michelle, I stopped and pondered it for a moment, and I went, how grateful I am to have been an athlete all my life. And I mean, really working out in the gym equipment and running and horseback riding. And I've done a lot. It's just who I am and never ceases. Thank goodness. So the cautionary tale is I have a lovely lady. Oh, I hope she's watching tonight. Um, I'll just say the word Turlock and you'll know who I'm talking about.
Mhm.
I call her the sweetest, most gentle soul that I have ever known. She is like a blue-eyed blonde wisp of a woman, and she's angelical almost. And she's working for the telephone company as a service rep, and she always had her neck bent over. Well, guess what? She bent over one day and her neck broke, just broke. And she's yet still a reader. And you tell me how tired she would be. And I started upon thinking about this. And when I said a wisp of a thing, she was. I haven't seen her in 10 years. So clearly she could be, as we all are, Char and I, we all were littler at one time. People used to think I was so slim in Sacramento. Yet, I've aged a little bit here. And yet she was very slim. And I remember thinking, how is it that she would bend her neck over? Didn't she have any muscle? Well, she was a little tiny thing. And I worried about her and she would get tired. And I started really thinking about our muscle masses in our body generates electricity. And because I've been an athlete, I'm muscular. Well, take after my Indian side, clearly, and muscular Indians, because look at how only strong survive type of statement, right?
Mhm.
And I'm very grateful that side. My mother, though she had the coloring, the very, very, oh, not black, but darkest hair possible, like mine now, and very black eyed, dark eyes, almost black. But she was took after her father's side of the family in the build, and she was a wisp of a thing. 5'3", but she never broke 100 pounds, type of thing. And yet, I have the coloring, and I have the body build of my grandmother. I think of Blanche. Blanche, are you hearing me? Holiday dinners were wonderful. It was always the joke. Let's see what grandma does. Let's give her a glass of wine. Well, my kids do that to me because we can't drink. But they used to talk about her getting in the bushes with the Indian boys. Oh my gosh, I'm embarrassing myself. We're going to have to do a show on family.
Yes.
The family just loved to get tease old grandma here. Her and the little chief boys getting the bushes with grandma was fun. But anyway, I think some of my success has been the energy built by the muscle masses. Now, with that same thought, yes, I can work a lot, but I also can get real tired. Shar and I have compared notes, and now it's getting really dark in here. Look at that light. I have had some serious illnesses besides cancer. Cancer was before I got into this, but I've also been ill after I got into this.
Mhm.
And even though I've kept up, the energy exuded from my body from all the readings, which I encouraged the first 15 years from May of 1990 until after, oh my gosh, I think Larry and I moved to Tucson for a great adventure, I called it, 2005. That's 15 years. And I was somewhere every week. I didn't know at the time that I was having people come to my house almost every day, 4 to 5 people. And I felt like if I didn't slow down, I would be physically harmed. Larry didn't know that. And he says to me, I've always wanted to live in Tucson. I have a timeshare there. Would you like to go? I said, you never told me you had a timeshare. Let's go to Tucson. I went there and he says, I just love it here. And I went, well, okay, let's have an adventure. And of course, you know, everybody, I moved there and got the house built in 2007. Let's call it timing sucks. Well, everybody knows if you're a psychic, you can't read yourself. So life is life. And we got, hello, Marissa. I don't know who else is in the room. I just happened to click on that.
We've got
Um,
Pamela.
Is
Pamela's
Pamela in
the
there? Yeah. My notes are on the side here and they cover up the box. So with that, I wasn't even aware that I was ill. And it went on. They said I had Graves' disease maybe 10 years. Before that, hyperthyroidism. You have that for some years before you developed, I don't know. But it did drain me. And Shar has a lot of stories. I've known of a lady, and she knows her too, in Placerville. She worked herself to death. She had a stroke going across the room and just dropped dead.
Mhm.
Sylvia Brown used to say, I know I'm going to live to be 88. Well, she was in Hawaii visiting something and she dropped dead of a heart attack at 77.
Mhm.
You know, it's only a year away from me, a year and a half. So go ahead, Char. I know you're just wanting to
There's
speak.
Jerry.
Go
No, there's Jerry. There's Jerry Baser. You know, like Nancy says, we have had this discussion a lot of times
lot.
about the toll, even just being a ghost hunter takes on people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen it within my own team. I'm not going to talk about, you know, people's private stuff. I'm just going to leave it at that. But
Yeah.
I've seen it within my own team, the sicknesses and the weaknesses and stuff that have transpired from it. But when you look
Yeah.
out into the actual paranormal world itself, and you guys can do your own research on this. I'm not mentioning names. I'm not getting sued by anybody. But go ahead and look out at everybody that, you know, the old timers, right? The old timers in the paranormal
Well,
industry.
Edgar Casey died of overwork too.
Right, right. You know, so you look at the older timers, and you look at like even my close friend Gloria Young, who passed away from stomach cancer for doing this work. You know, I'm not saying it was because of the work, but that's what she got. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
but you guys can do your own research. Google. You know, there's certain ones that even are on TV now that you can see the difference in their health.
Oh, really? I
So
haven't noticed.
yeah, it does.
I mean,
It does take a toll. It takes a huge toll.
when
And
you go ahead. Sorry.
and with me, you know, my health, probably some of my health issues are from this. Of course, my health issues stem, Nancy and I know damn well what my major health issues stem from. So we're just gonna leave it at that. But some of the other stuff that I have, yeah, I mean, I have a weak immunity, and so it doesn't help it when I'm out in the field. You know, this is where I can tell you guys about getting goosed by a ghost. What I call getting goosed by a ghost. I named it that myself because I couldn't think of anything else.
Who's by a ghost? Let me think of that one.
So you're walking through a haunted building. Imagine yourself. And you know what? My WD-40 is not working, so we're stuck for the time being with this.
Oh. I
It's,
didn't.
like, it's not any worse than putting your nails on a chalkboard. Deal with it. You know. Anyway, so picture yourself walking through a building, and suddenly you feel your stomach do a flip.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it doesn't feel like it. Then you just feel a little nauseous, but then you go on with your day. You get home. And the next thing you know, you hit the couch. and you have no energy for 2 or 3 days, maybe
Yep.
even 4. That is
Yep.
what I call getting goosed by a ghost.
And they're hungry for your life force. It
Yeah.
makes them feel better,
Yeah.
especially if they're depressed. And
Yes.
then Shar and I have talked endless hours, as well as I have with Karen Rothstein. We're putting a book together on attachments, is that they want to attach. And if you have an attachment, she called me and she says, I've been thinking of you and you have an attachment. I went, oh my gosh, do I? Today I have one. Well, I got rid of that. And people don't realize how easy it is to get an attachment. You could talk to someone really depressed and they will share that attachment with you because you make them feel better. And the attachment goes,
Hmm.
oh, I don't like this.
Hmm.
Yet the reader, me and anybody else talking to her, we are pulled down because we give our energy. So then that
Yes.
spirit can say, oh, but she's down at the moment. I'll go over there. It's
Yeah.
just very easy to do that. And we have to be very careful. And there's tons of ways that people honor their body by eating clean or meditating. They don't drink. Um, Actually, when I was doing all the work I was doing, it didn't matter what I ate. It did matter if I drank. And I used to have, well, not even once a month, but I don't drink at all now because I need to keep my brain sharp. And anything that dulls you, you cannot, oops,
Hmm.
you talk about being goose. Someone just touched me. Someone just touched me. I love this stuff.
It's the guy. I told him to come see you. I told him to come see you.
I, I can't.
It's him. Now
I
take care
can't.
of it so I don't have
Welcome to
to deal
my
with it.
world, everybody.
Take care of it. I don't have to deal with it. Um, the other thing, too, is that's something that I talk with my ghost hunters about. If you're going to go on a ghost hunt and you're not feeling well,
Yes. Yes.
you don't feel like you're quite all there in the game, you have no business
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. That's right. And that's hard to give up because people expect. It's like Shari sends me a picture of the house. I have to make sure I'm feeling good. And I
Right.
did write her note saying which is a front door type of thing, and look that up because that really helped me because it looks like I'm on looking at the kitchen side, and I thought there's no door here. So
Yeah, it was weird. When I was looking at that photo, I thought the same thing.
yeah, if I can, yeah. So anyway, you put your energy out there. It's the same as I was. This is always fun to me. We'll probably have to do this again. People call in and say, "Who's standing next to me?" And they say, "Well, how in the world can you do that?" Well, there's a gal in Singapore, and I have only her as an email. Let's see, no, there's 3 or 4 people that I allow still to do email readings. And I can see her house. I've described it, especially when she had a cat that was ill. And I was talking about the cat going across, doing the all, put my mind over there. And you go, well, Nancy, how do you do that? And I said, there's no time and space in that other dimension. It's like the people in Italy. My mind, she can talk to, oh, cats. She can ask me a question, and instantly I'm in the house with her. And when
Hmm.
they brought the property, bought the property, I started describing what the house would look like with the remodeling done. And then the property next door, I saw a building where he will remodel it to be his garage. And he said, how are you doing this? I go, I enter your time. Time is the base of your neck. And if I knew how to do this and package it for a nickel, I'd sell it to everybody. But your energy flows from you to them. Now, how you cover 5 or 6,000 miles, it takes, how is that possible? Let alone days, weeks, months. Somehow I go straight through all those months. One time I was joking with somebody, I think it was Char. I says, do I go around the planet each time a day passes a month like this until I get to that time in your life? No, it's a stream right through. We have a
Hmm.
line
Hmm.
from our about an inch to 2 inches down through the little spot on our neck. I feel a slide down and then forward for unused, and used is behind us. And instantly, all those days, months can pass. I remember in 2000, 2 little girls came, and they were a couple, and one of them was going to inherit a house off the North Fork of in Virginia, North Fork, Virginia. The river is like a tree. It has all these branches on the north east quadrant. I saw a cabin and I described it, and the little girl just started crying. I saw her retiring there with her partner, and she says, "Oh, Grandpa's going to will it to me when he passes away." And I said, "Well, how many more years do you think you have to work?" She says, 30 to 35.
I hear you.
Okay, how many days did I have to twirl around the sun? But I'm still going through time. I'm still going that distance. Does it make me more tired to give up reading at 30 to 35 years
Mhm.
versus just tomorrow? It doesn't matter. What does matter is the emotionality of the person I'm talking to. How hard do I have to fight through that? How much of my energy do I go for the drill to get through it? It adds up. I know there's no such thing as us acquiring a disease or an illness from somebody. Someone must be thinking it.
Mhm.
And that is not the problem. Mm-mm. Energy is clean. It's the
Every
usability of it.
time, well, that's the issue. Is that what people don't realize is that every time a psychic or medium does a reading on even a building or whatever, whatever's there wants to feel that positive energy that this psychic has because they don't feel
Yeah,
it anymore. But when they
yeah,
do it, it sucks it out like a vacuum cleaner. That's where you come up with your psychic vampires. Even when we talk
yeah.
about psychic vampires, that's what that is. And so a psychic has to be really careful when they're out in the field and they're doing that work because I mean if they open up too much and this person or whatever it is comes in too much, it's going to exhaust them. I mean, I've been out, like I
Right.
said, I've been out where I've been down 2 3 days afterwards. One of the rules I learned from one of our team psychics, and I don't remember if it was Trish or who it was, but one of the team psychics that we had told me that okay, when you're out, it's okay to let them touch you, but let them touch the tip of your finger and no more, just
Oh,
enough that they feel a
well.
little bit of your energy.
You think they're going to mind that? Oh, I
No,
can only touch that live person on the finger. Oh, heck, I've had them come up and put their arms around me. Hello,
oh
hello. And
yeah,
they invisible person. I'm going, whoa, that's too tight. I mean, come on. I've
and
had all
then there's,
kinds
and then
of
there's
things.
then there's other psychics who come into your space as well. I've had that happen.
That happened to you a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
and for me,
she's
yeah, and for me, the way it feels like my arm is going to sleep. I can tell because
oh,
it's
that's
kind of
interesting comment.
there's a little bit of sharp pain, but it feels kind of like fingers going like this and like this on your arm, and that's how it feels for me when one comes into my space. And I didn't know.
That's an interesting comment. I don't remember that, but I remember us talking, and all of a sudden you said, "I feel somebody in my space." Didn't
Mhm.
you? Weren't you able to somehow identify who it was?
Yes,
Okay, don't say
yes,
it on the air, but I
right,
seem to remember thinking. Um, Now the
yes.
other side of it is the approval of that person because I think of Shar and she thinks of me.
Hmm.
We live quite a distance away. But there's other people in my world, one in Rockland and one in Texas, let alone my kids.
Hmm.
And I can think of them and they turn around and call me. So I've actually stepped into them or they stepped into me because I'll call them. One day someone said, well, it took you 10 minutes to get to me. I says, well, let me have time to get to the phone. How fast can we do this? There's a difference versus someone prying,
Hmm.
someone trying to figure out what you're doing.
Hmm.
And we all are not labeled psychics. It could be somebody who keeps on getting into Charlotte's face.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep,
And that's also
absolutely.
very difficult. Now, someone's thinking, well, Nancy, why don't you learn how to protect yourself? Listen, we all have that. We were just talking about last week tones. I had the spirit man called the Traveler, and
Hmm.
he was talking about the universe being full of music. And he follows a tone to travel. And he found me because the ball of energy around me has a certain tone to it.
Hmm.
And if I meditate, or what we would call meditate, I think of a tone that balances me.
Hmm.
It's hard to explain it because I can hear it, but it's hard to explain that. And you'd have to do it every second to protect yourself. So at
Hmm.
some point, you're going to let your guard down because it
Yep.
takes time to put yourself there. My tone feels and sounds like someone sitting on the edge of a pond at midnight, and the moon is shining its glow down on the water, and you can see it in the ripple.
Hmm.
That's my tone. It's a very calm, deeper tone. Not the brightest part of the day. It's not. I'm a not fire, nor am I anybody at night. I just like the peacefulness of that. I'm
And
really quite a
again,
country person, huh?
in order to even do that, to do that protection, to do that white bubble, to do whatever you do around you, that takes energy from you as well. So
Right.
you're not only trying to bounce off somebody else, you're not only trying to protect your own energy, you're trying to keep people out of your energy, and that's what makes it difficult sometimes.
Okay, so how about a young woman who's getting into this and a
Mhm.
child in the background is screaming? Hard, really hard, because that child is doing what other
Mhm.
people do to us.
Mhm.
Mom, and that mom, the hands go up, goes right through somebody,
Mhm.
right through somebody. I'm not going to say the cats do that to me, but we just had one. He's right here. This cat is like this big, right? Looks at me and go, and I go, whoa. And so even an animal can make a demands on you, and your guard not down, you just right, your head just like this.
I was telling Marisa the other day because my old dog is feeling better, so
Uh-huh,
he's
uh-huh.
he's, he's more responsive. Yeah, I don't think he was feeling good for a while, but he'll come into the bathroom and he's got that helmet thing on his head, right? So it's cute anyway because he's little. But he comes in, he'll sit down, be real quiet. Then he looks up at me, and all of a sudden he goes, "What?" So let's talk about demanding.
Our cat does that too. The one that's the real noisy one I was telling you, Joe here.
Yeah.
He'll come and look at you and he's got somewhere in their family tree is a Siamese, and he sounds Siamese. And it's got a big voice, and the other one can be just as destructive to you because it's really soft. Yeah. And you turn toward it, and this one is like,
Yeah, like my other cat. I saw something online. And I'm wondering about this, and people are saying it's not true. People say that
what
orange cats are really rambunctious and aggressive.
what kind? What are you talking about?
The orange tabbies, the orange
Oh, I
cats, the
don't
orange
know that.
cats. And then, because I thought this, because I got two black cats, and then I got my gray cat. Well, both the black cats are really vocal, and so I threw some research out there. Are black cats more vocal than the other cats? And part of the answers I got were yes, and then there were a bunch of no's. But the majority of the information I found said that black cats were more vocal.
How interesting. I have two black cats.
Hmm.
The soft-spoken one, Bud, after my
Hmm.
uncle Bud, who I adored, very peaceful, very quiet. Joe, jeez, and Joe was named after the doctor in Dragonfly, the movie, where the two doctors, one goes to Peru, is killed in a bus accident, and her spirit keeps in touch with her husband, Kevin Costner, I believe, and sends him dragonflies all the time. So his name, when he was in the hospital, one of the little boys saw her spirit during surgery and yelled out in the middle of the night, Joe, Joe, your wife is telling me to tell you something, Joe, Joe. And I thought, well, that's a cat's name. So every time I yell out, call him Joe, it's after that. Talk about good vibes,
Well,
good movie, good.
I can honestly say Nancy and Marisa have heard my guy,
What's that?
my big boy. You both have witnessed my big boy in
Oh, oh yeah,
full vocal
yeah.
fashion.
Oh my gosh, I talked to her and just in the background I go.
And I'm going to sleep through it. He does what I call the dying cat, and all this other stuff he sounds he makes.
I got off track because I do have
I know
questions
we
in
did.
here.
We started rolling, so let's get back on track. But I mean, we're not saying don't investigate. I mean, investigation, like what I'm going to do Sunday. I love helping people. That's what I do this for. I don't do it for the money. I do it to help people. That's my goal. But there are inherent dangers in doing that. Because it does weaken you.
Absolutely. I call it service. Anytime
Yeah.
you have service, I think it. Marissa, thank you. She says, you don't look 76. Well, I'm not going to be 76 until the end of April. But I haven't done anything. It will catch up with me next month. I'll look 76. But I look like my grandmother. I just got flat lucky, just lucky, just
Hmm.
darker skin and dark eyes and everything. So I wish I could take credit.
Hmm.
That's it, right? Thank you, Marissa. You just made my day, sweetie. And Jasmine, I know you have a question. You want me to do some readings. I'm sorry, sweetie. We don't do that. This is a different evening. I have done readings. We have done that.
Hmm.
Um, you can get free readings very easily on other shows, though. I just try to stay on topic because if you ask questions, then we'll be bombarded with a lot of people. That's all we'll ever do. Okay, so I just happened to look. I did want to go on, and I had a couple things here. Um, Practice makes perfect. So when I first started UCM, that I've said this a lot of times. I'll just say it because a lot of times people listen to me for the first time. After cancer, I got divorced. After divorce, a year and a half later, the doc said, "We've got to watch you for 5 years real closely and 15. If you can survive 15 years, um, then you could be cured." And I was driving home on my birthday, April 3rd, 1990. Thank you for my life, my sanity. And if you wish, I'll work for the rest of my life. But I was directed to the Spirit of Grace where I discovered what was wrong with me because I'd always been doing reading, not readings, but predicting. Oh, big time. In '84, I predicted a murder in someone's family, a death in someone's family, and happened that night. Her aunt hammered to death her husband, and her case, I think it was Newcastle, California. She was acquitted of murder because he was an abusive husband. It was one of the first cases ever, and that was in '84. And of course, the next day, my little friend said, "Well, last night we had a death in the family. It was my uncle was murdered by his wife." And so I've been doing this kind of thing all the time. And when the pastor was, they directed me there. And what I was trying to say is I'd witnessed it and I was so excited. I jumped up. I went, "What is this? What is this?" He was reading psychometries. And he says, "Do you want to read this?" And yeah. So I started and I ended up reading everybody. That was 8 people. And within 4 to 5 weeks, I had 30 people a night, every Friday night. And then I did classes, but I also did readings on Sunday. And when you think of the numbers of people that I have talked to in the 15 years before I left California, I was always, and I'm making a point here, please bear with me. I was East West Bookstore once a month or twice a month. I did the psychic fairs. I did the conventions in Sacramento, um, uh, Evolving Times Expo, California. Let's see, I forgot what the name of it. Anyway, it was a big conventions sponsored by the bookstores. And so I did a lot of that. And it was the absolute amazing numbers of people that I would talk to. And you have to build up. Nowadays, when people want to take a class from me or the materials or whatever, and there's a lack of a place for people to practice. Now, if you can get into a group and practice each other, the trouble is it gets boring with the same people and you don't know if you're reading the same thing over and over. And I always encourage people, and I'm guilty of doing this sometimes, spontaneously reading somebody, but those are usually the people that I know and like, or they'll allow me to. I had a gentleman in Oregon just write me a note and say, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa," and it's somebody I've known for 30 years. Of course, I'm going to answer him. And people don't realize it does take time and energy. I have to put my mind down and I have to go to him, and there's time. Even though he's in Oregon, it doesn't matter. I'm somewhere else. Might as well be Italy, right? And it always takes energy. And people say, "Well, Nancy, you must be wealthy. You do this every day." And I says, "Well, it's usually family and friends." I'm not making a lot of money now because the economy is so bad, but I am practicing all the time. And there's something to be said about living on the edge. I brought this up. I like a challenge because after doing it for so long, 33 years, people call me up and says, "My boyfriend going to call?" And it's like, I've answered that question 10,000 times. So you have to put yourself in a point of stress and building up your stamina to be able to do readings and spontaneously move your energy to somebody. And you can only do that and acquire that ability by doing this thousands and thousands of times. Now you say, "Nancy, I'm never going to get there." Well, I've encouraged people, and I know this is not Blog Talk Radio, but I will encourage people. When I went there, I think Sharon and I were talking about something, and I went over there. I think it was all our old shows because she started in '07. I started in '08. I was in Arizona and she was here. We go back a long ways.
Yes.
Holy tomatoes. And then I started Port Orange Paranormal with George Lopez, probably 2011 for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like the practice was there. Oh, George, one time he said, "Nancy, you want to go on the readings?" I'm sure. What? I'm always game, right? And he had me muted. And he said, "Okay, audience, write me a note and tell me who you want to hear from." And someone wrote in Jack the Onassis. Oh, well, I didn't know that. And the first thing I got on there is Hey, just start talking. You picking up anybody? George is just leading me. Well, I should pick somebody up, and she was a tall, lanky lady showing me her dog that she would walk in New York on the streets. And George later said to me, he said, "Your voice changed to sound like Jackie Onassis." I went, "Meow." And I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't have trust. And I've told the audience only through practice and encourage you, please get yourself a half hour, 15-minute show on Block Talk Radio and say free readings and put yourself in a stress place of moving your energy back and forth. Only can you do that. Will you be comfortable enough? Because I tell people say to me, aren't you nervous about talking about who's standing next to somebody or ghost investigation? Well, Char will tell you, damn, Nancy is scary, and it's only because I've done this so often. And you get to a place of trusting what you pick up. And how I trust is they're either going to be there or they're not going to be there. I trust my energy. If someone's not standing next to you, I can't see anybody. I had these ladies and I says, well, who did you ask to show up tonight? Oh, was I supposed to? I says, yeah, I told you. You want to talk about 40, 20. Someone called me a few weeks back, a young man in California, and must talk to 20 of his spirit people. He says, I invited everybody. And I don't say found family. I describe the individual. I don't care who they are. I'll say it feels like a father, grandfather. And I'll start describing what people look like because I'm remote. And that's what you want to acquire. Everybody can say, oh, I feel the vibration of a grandparent. He's smiling at you. Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, hello. I don't know. Make it up. But if you said, well, he was tall, lanky, he is showing me naked because he got so thin of cancer at the end of his life, a disease. He had blue hazel eyes and light colored hair. Who in here is thinking about grandpa? Because I just saw this person. So that's what happens. I must have reached somewhere. Is anybody, Char, just watch for a minute. Who am I describing here, everybody? So that's how it works. And I tell you, if you can practice, put your mind, go to the mall, go somewhere with a lot of people, put your mind, turn your switch on and say, I want to see spirit people. Just pay attention. If you think I don't have fun going to a restaurant or somewhere, and I go, I'd like to see who's here of the unseen, and the place is full. I'll go from one person to another. Oh my God, this person got 6 people walking around. And if you don't think that families, community, and some of the best families, loving, I tell you, Indian people were isolated. I mean, they were family, but not like Hispanic peoples. I tell you, they go everywhere together. Oh. Well, all their dead relatives also fall. I love you talk about so many people. Char's got more spirit people roaming her house. And she had someone teasing her. I said, that darn uncle. He's wearing dark suit and everything. I tell you, it's fun. It's so fun. You have to practice though. And I implore you to find a bunch of girlfriends and have, even if you read girlfriends or boyfriends, if you men are wanting to practice, have them think of somebody else and say, I have a question for my cousin. Where does that cousin live? Oh, Louisiana? Fine. What's your question? And see if you can get and stretch yourself. Only by doing that will you develop the switch. Now, we're also talking about how exhausting it be. When you first start out, you get that big rush. Oh, this is so fun. If you practice, you're confident you'll use as much and more because you go, well, this is fun. Now give me somebody. Let me have a challenge here, right? And then you really exert yourself. And then you can get really tired.
We have a question.
Go ahead.
What are your thoughts on the shows like with Tyler Henry and The Medium or Long Island Medium? Oh, okay.
Well, I've never seen any of those shows. And the reason is, you're going to love this. I don't want to read something that they say and I'm getting something different. This is awful, right? So I'm watching the night shows, the news. I used to watch a lot of news at night. And I'll look at somebody on TV and read them like a news guy, like someone's in trouble with the Congress or something's going on. I have to be really careful not to put the switch on because I'll read their health. I'll read what they're doing. It's really fun sitting with me. My husband says, you ruin everything. You always know the ending of movies and, I can't help it. I don't want to be challenged. Give me that. I do watch movies. I don't watch soap operas. I don't watch. Shar says I just watched this, and I never watched any of them. Waltons, I never saw one. Maybe 10 minutes of one show. It, just because life's too busy for me. But I'll read those people. Now, what if one of these people, and they're lucky enough to be on, that's their destiny? That's fine. I don't care. What if they're reading somebody and I get something totally different? That's no fun for me. That is no fun at all. Now, Professor Gary Schwartz was the one that discovered the gal who worked with the police. And she was played on Patricia Arquette played her
Mhm.
role. Yeah. Now, the TV shows, they're very creative with the plot. They're going to expound upon what really was her job, what she really did. And Professor Gary Schwartz, he developed the soul phone was worked on. He double blind tested me 3 ways. I could not, I had my back to them. I couldn't see them, and I couldn't hear the person. So they call it triple blind test. And I proved to be what I do. So nancymatzpsychic, you go to the front, there's a link talking about Professor Gary Schwartz. I just copy it and put it on my page. And the boy that I first talked to, you want to get to this point. You talk to this point. I had no idea who he was. He was a student at Tucson University. And I saw this very large, dark lady with whiskers show up, and she had the big moon face, just really round, just beautiful. And she took her hat off, and she was bald, and she turned around and put the hat on my head. And I guess this guy was frailing his arms about and he just screaming and yelling, couldn't say anything because Professor Gary Schwartz let him. That's what you want. And if you go to the bottom page, he's written me that I changed his life. His grandma was Tonganese, and she had cancer, and she had whiskers on her chin. So taking the hat off and putting it on my head, she was bald. But the whiskers was the clue. How in the world could I have made up anybody like that? Right? You have to be able to see them. I can't feel that she has whiskers. You got to look at it. And my eyes are big as saucers. I go, wow, look at this lady. It's like, wow, you're interesting looking. And the Tonga-Bees peoples, if you think of the rock, they have beautiful complexions. And I was mesmerized by her beautiful complexion, and though she had cancer. And you want to practice every day to have those exciting readings. And of course, there was more to it. There was other clients there, but he put me through the ringer, and it was wonderful fun. Just wonderful.
Michelle
Go ahead,
is saying,
Char.
have you ever been asked to consult on movies or TV shows about psychics?
No, that I live a really quiet life, relative. So I think on some level I might sabotage myself from being that way. I had a couple of opportunities to step up, and I was so busy with clients. I thought to myself, I really did think this through. I'm not a fool. Of course, I would have made a lot of money, but I have to also say I live a quiet life, and I'm not very interesting. I don't have a loud mouth. All my family are peaceful people. I don't run around. I don't do my nails. I mean, what are they going to talk about? I just do what I do. I was an engineering person and had accounting and engineering, but I stay with engineering, and people in engineering don't talk. Then I became a supervisor. I was a manholes and conduit was my specialty. Really? Is that interesting for TV? And I thought it'd be so embarrassing. They'd have to drum up a whole new life for me, and I'm not that way. I used to be a solitary runner, solitary horse person, had a garden in the country. I'm, not, I'm interested because people like that. But for an audience, I think the best way for me to be interesting would be on just doing readings, just describe people walking around, just like every time I do a reading. I met a lady today, and she asked me what I do for a living, and I gulped. I'm like, oh my gosh, when I first started in 90, it was put a cross on your yard and burn it type of thing. Like, oh my gosh, he's against let alone that I had a Christian background, married a Catholic. When you get into this, it was a totally different 1990. it was kind of a nasty word. Oh, you're a psychic, and you see dead people.
Mhm.
No, 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 no. So that's kind of been behind me a little bit. Uh, but I was on some shows, um, Channel 13 about the cemetery tours, a lot of cable shows. I've done a lot of that,
Mhm.
but not a TV series. I wouldn't even know what to do other than just do readings. I remember a show where they had a psychic on the street approaching people. That's the very last thing I'd ever do because I do believe, and I've
Mhm.
been guilty once in a while of slipping, is that if you say something that alters in any way someone's limited free will,
Mhm.
that's kind of bad juju because we do not have the right to live someone else's life. And what we say to people, sometimes this stuff goes through me so fast. Oh my gosh. How, and people say to me, well, how do you monitor it? I said, sometimes it's like a freight train.
Mhm.
But in back of my mind, I try to be as tactful as possible. I don't know why it's so fast. Like it speeds up, my body speeding up thinking, and I don't know who I was describing earlier, but it was someone in chat room or I don't know how this happens, but they're watching me. So your
Mhm.
life force through your eyes is connecting to me, and I can go to somebody who's watching and pick up dead people. How about that show? Was it your show, Shar, where I talked about a young girl dying and she wanted someone in the family to know that she was okay? Was that someone?
Mhm.
Wasn't that one of your crew?
Mhm.
This woman came, a young girl came through, and well, how did she die? She drowned, or what was her death? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
And she described herself. I think I know who it is, and I don't know if I should say her name, but she's also. But anyway, she came right here, and I went,
Mhm.
"Oh my gosh, this woman!" And I started talking about her, and some in the chat room, one of Char's people, she knew exactly. She was in the chat room. She says, "Oh my God, that's my sister." And I said, "Was your sister's body damaged?" That's usually an accident, or if it's cancer, it's disrupted. Um, and a lot of things that we consider harm to our body. And Karen said, yes, she was in a car accident, killed her, or if I remember right. And it just amazes me. And I sometimes ask people, how does that affect your life? Knowing those, does that change you? Because I guess that's the outcome of what any person like myself gets into this. Did it better your life? With that, this is exhausting. I'll stay awake for a while. Shar and I will sometimes catch up, but a lot of times I just try to calm it down because 8:30 at night, 9:30, 10 o'clock, I want to go to bed, and I'm buzzed up like this. I think we're off track. I had some other things I want to talk about. Um, uh, so I was at a gas station once, and this lady come up to me, and she had that European look. I have information for you. Can I tell you all about you and what you need? I went, no, I don't
Oh,
want to
I've had people
know.
like that. Yeah.
Don't you know who I am? It was kind of like in Sacramento. My name was everywhere at the time. I says, I also do what you're doing, and I don't approach strangers. And she just won't. But the problem is I felt her for about a half hour because I think she couldn't figure out who I was. Was I police or was I, it kind of went completely over her head. And
Mhm.
that's when it gets not dangerous, but invasive. Like Shar said, "Oh, I felt someone step into my space." Well, those who are not as honorable can get in your space, and yeah, right. And I'm not going to say the whammy can put on you, but if
Mhm.
they and people ask me, well, can someone get a doll and put pins in it and hurt you? They would have to think of that every second until something happened. They would have to put the whammy on you and be that all the time. You can't put a pin in a doll and have it stay with you forever. Those things don't happen. So you have to have that intent and stay with it endless hours to harm somebody. But I felt her for a good half hour to an hour later because she was thinking about me. And because she saw my face, she visualized my face and was trying to figure out where she saw me before because I had been on TV a lot.
Mhm.
Um, Anyway, so that's that. And sometimes if you feel that, you have to rebuff it. You have to push it out of you. Can they feel that? Absolutely. Ooh, wait a minute. What's going on here? Someone just, well, you shouldn't be thinking of that person in a negative way because I can do that. I'm not going to say people should be afraid of me, but even at my age, I'm very powerful, and yes, I think it can be done, but it's not going to be forever. It's going to be momentarily. Tell Shar not talk so fast, and I just did it myself. Shar, come on, let's keep going with other. Go ahead, and then I want to bring up something else. It's your turn.
It's my turn. Well, it is when someone gets in your space. I mean, you can feel the energy. I mean, like I've been able to feel whether they're a male or female just by the heaviness. Because again, I feel it like like a tingle. That's what I feel is a tingle. And if the tingle is heavy, it's generally a male. If the tingle is real light, it's a female or a child. But I have been on the phone, and this is something with psychics too, that if you're talking to somebody on the phone that has abilities, that's another thing that can happen, is they will come through the phone and invade your space. I was on a case a long time ago. I'm not going to mention names. I refuse to mention names. And I was sitting there doing a post, and I had a couple individuals sitting across the room from me, and I was kind of in an argument with some people at the time. We were having disagreements, and this particular person started to send stuff my way, and I could feel it.
Really?
And they didn't realize how strong I had become as a psychic up at this point. And so what I thought of was a shiny trash can lid, like a shield. And
I love it.
In my mind, I put this thing in front of me, and the person that was sending this stuff had a shocked look on their face.
And you saw that?
Right back at him, yeah, because I shot it right back at him.
Same as a mirror. You could do a mirror. I've heard of people, and this is not my idea. Someone else said, get a pair of scissors, cut it. And they'll lose that connection. And, we could go, well, Nancy, that's not real scissors. Yeah, but your mind is very powerful. If you want to disconnect, you can. I want to bring up a couple things before we lose any more time. Do you have a show tonight? Do you have something going on at 8 o'clock?
Creature features.
Oh, no, I was talking about a meditation.
No.
I want to bring up something that most people don't think about. And I want to talk about going to the movies. And when you have a celebrity out there, as with people think about me, you're shooting your life force to them. And there's one scene I saw a commercial. Like I said, I hardly ever go to the movies, though I do want to go see Beetlejuice when it comes out in a year. And there's a couple out right now that I would like to see coming up. I want to speak to Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is at a movie where he is on a motorcycle, and before they put the special effects in, he goes off a ramp. He goes into the air, and then his parachute come on. How many of you watched a movie where you caught your breath? Okay. You're losing your life force because you're putting it to the character in the movie. Tom Cruise is picking up millions of people, thinking of them at different times. Very high energy. You wonder where he gets it? It's from you, honey. Thank you very much. If there's a scary movie, you're blasting your energy from all sides out. And then you wonder why you're tired after watching a movie. How about a murder suspense? My husband really goes through all that, I do like an old-time, turn-of-the-century detective type of thing. But when it's the slasher movies or anything like that, I have come to realize that it's exhausting because you're putting yourself in the victim position. And please don't write me letters. When someone is being attacked, their life force is being shot off in every direction. If we could collect it and keep it to yourself, you would have the energy to do more fighting. Now, of course, I never want to be in that position. But please don't misunderstand, when I see a murder, I see that energy push away from us. And then the people get exhausted. Of course they are. But when you're watching a movie, it's saying you're blasting into the room. How many times you watch a lot of detective or a lot of violent movies, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden your partner, or your father, or mother, or somebody gets up and they're arguing with you, or they're frustrated. They go in the kitchen. All of a sudden, everybody's in a bad space. Well, guess what? You just gave it to the movie, but the movie gave it back to you.
Mhm.
That negative energy, and or you take it on. And even
Mhm.
though they're actors, a lot of people are not aware of that. How about going? This happens to me all the time. If I go to the grocery store, if I'm going somewhere, if there's a child in a cart that is quiet with the mom and dad, they get down my aisle or near me, that child will start screaming. hmm I don't know why, but the child somehow reacts to my life force being close. And I haven't figured that out because I'm a very peaceful person. Boring, remember I said earlier, quiet, quiet. And I find that curious. Like my energy field must be a big ball, and the quiet child is walking, being pushed in a cart next to me, and they go, "Whoa, what was that?" And all of a sudden they start crying. Like dogs and cats all seem to be around me. If I go somewhere and there's stray animal, it's right there, or a pet, and they seem a lot of reaction to me, all the lot. It's very very curious. Um, build up your energy. Be physically fit doesn't mean you don't have an illness. I know people who do this. Lady back east, she's diabetic and she's very very psychic, and yet it's because she takes care of herself otherwise. She keeps up her muscle masses. That's very important to understand, everybody. I hope I'm addressing that, but I did want to bring up the idea of movie or going somewhere where there's activity. It's terrible to think about what's happened in the world when people have terrorist issues. Moscow just had 3 to 5 people come in with rifles. Can you imagine the horror of what those people must have gone through? 40 people at least, and the energy. Oh, I did bring this up. I was dating for a while before I met my husband, and we've been married 21 years here coming up. And before him was a gentleman that were friends and took me to a restaurant. And the restaurant, well, we don't have tables. Why don't you walk next room over and go to the bar? It was a great big restaurant. It's a Mexican restaurant across from Arden Fair Mall. Charlotte and I have talked about before on the show. And all of a sudden there was a fight between 2 men on the other side of this big old round counter. And so my friend, we both had a drink, and everybody started running out of the room. And I was watching everybody's energy go. They were in front of their energy. It was like, whoa! It was so fun to watch. And I was just smiling, looking around. And he looked at me and says, "You're enjoying this." I go, "Oh my gosh, their life forces. Some people shoot their life force out in front of them as though it left their body first, and some people, the flesh runs first because they're so scared, and their life force is shooting off in the back." And then when I was watching the 2 men fight, it balled up around them. Like one was hauling off to give it to the guy. It was like watching the movie Jim Carrey's Mask, where the big energy ball in the hand goes home wham, and the other guy's life force just went shot out the back to, like, you say that word, oh shit, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I thought, should I have enjoyed it that much? It was one of the first experiences where I saw turbulence like that and how our life force is affected by other people's actions. And it was just amazing. Those people must have been exhausted after all that. Imagine trying to recapture yourself and have a good evening afterward when these fools are causing so much disturbances in the force. I love that new term. You are in the, I'm in the force, Force. I hope
Marisa
everybody
wants
enjoyed
to
this.
know
Go
if the
ahead.
restaurant was El Torito's.
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see.
Now, whoever said that, I can't see the chat room unless I move everything around it.
Yeah.
It had a real sweeping bar. And of course, everybody, they did it as a purpose. Everybody come in, you'd have to wait a half hour and they'd send you over there. And I've never been much of a drinker. If I go out and get a margarita, that's a big deal. I don't drink very well. Probably Indian blood. Okay, Shar. Anything else that we didn't mention?
I think I'm
Practice,
good.
practice,
Oh, let's
everybody.
see. We got a question here. Another question? Let's see. Open this sucker up. Let's see. Nope. Have a great weekend, everybody. Okay, well, nope. I got
Well,
nothing else.
if you like everybody, give us a thumbs up, please.
Yep.
And
Yep. Give us
But
some
this
horror
was kind of
stuff,
off the
something.
cuff
Yeah.
night. I had other things to bring up, but got kind of distracted. Um, if you have interest, I will be starting and talking about little snippets of readings.
Hmm.
I have about 32 years worth, 31 years worth, and I'm just going to arbitrarily pick them, and that will be at Nancy Metz Psychic. So go to my channel and sign up and subscribe. We'll never conflict with Shar Show, and as far as I know, until the near future, I'll be still here also. So sign up at my site, everybody. Okay, Shar, close it up,
Okay.
kiddo.
Yep, just about ready to wrap it. And there's a couple things I got to discuss with Nancy this weekend. Maybe we'll do some Easter readings or something special for
Whatever.
the holiday.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, it's
Help me get to,
Sunday. Sunday is Easter.
yeah, we can do that for Easter readings.
I
Help me
should
get to
know.
that goal. Help me get to that goal for my equipment. That would be nice. Something to help me reach that goal.
Yeah, just
For
remember,
equipment
just
repair.
give me a
Yeah.
day's notice that you're doing
Yeah,
something. So I,
yeah, we can do something like that for you guys. Make it cheap enough that everybody will do it. That's what we'll do.
yeah,
We'll
sure.
bring the pricing down so everybody can do it. But Monday is going to be a fun day. Of course, we're gonna have the book read. I'm going to pre-record the book read because we are doing a preliminary on Sunday at 4:30 p.m. So Marisa, I believe it's going to be Marisa and I and Jerry are going to be out at this residential. I cannot film it at the moment. But we will definitely probably be live for the investigation. I don't know yet, so we'll see how that works out. I've got technical difficulties right now, so I can't be filming stuff out in the wild. But yeah, we are going to be doing this
That's not the
investigation.
house that you sent me, right? This is a different house.
That's the house I sent you.
Oh, but make sure you give me some, or call me back, and then we'll discuss what I picked up, even if I don't know which way.
Okay.
When you
Okay.
go in the front door, how do I know where to tell you to look
Exactly.
if I don't know which door is which? Yeah.
Exactly. So that means if it's at 4:30 p.m. Sunday, then I can't. Obviously, I may not be back here in time for 6 p.m. to do a show. If I was to do it, it would have to be later in the evening, and I don't know exactly what time I'll be back. So I'm going to go ahead and do a pre-record of the 25 ghost stories read for you guys, and I'll probably do that tonight or tomorrow. On Monday, it's going to be a fun night. Flat Earth Dave is going to be with us.
I love it.
So we're going to be talking about flat Earth theory on Monday. So that should be a fun night. We got a full week next week of really good shows that you guys are gonna like. So that's what's upcoming. In the meantime, we'll get you updated on this thing that Nancy, and I can plan. See, now I'm doing
Slow
it.
down, sweetie.
Nancy and I can plan a little bit on doing a little something with you guys for readings or whatever for Easter and start your Easter off great, right? Or you spent your Easter great. I saw the coolest thing the other day. Speaking of Easter,
Okay.
I always like to build gingerbread houses.
Oh no.
I'm seriously considering this. I saw it at the dollar store.
Really?
They had a
What?
gingerbread house kit for Easter. So I
How
may
cute.
do it. I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see if things work out financially.
And the
I'll
dollar
go
store
buy it.
had one?
It's only
Wow.
$5. Yeah. And I'm thinking, if things work out for me financially, which they never do, but we'll see. I might just do that, and I'll do it the Saturday before Easter. I'll put it together, for the pre-Easter thing. The other thing I saw that was really cool, which is never going to happen because it's $20, is they actually have those experiments they have for kids, crystal growing things where you can grow your own crystals.
Oh, I remember those a long time ago. Yeah.
Well, what I thought was really cool, and I saw this at CVS the other day, egg crystal growing.
Throwing?
Growing. So it grows in the
Growing.
shape of
Okay,
an egg.
growing. Okay.
It grows in the shape of an egg, so you can make red and yellow crystal eggs. It's
Wow.
kind of cool. So yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So they have some neat things out there. What I missed, and I know how to make them if I wasn't so lazy, is I fell in love with the galaxy eggs, and they're hard to find now. Sometimes Michael's has them, but I don't know why they stopped making them. Maybe they didn't sell. They were the most awesome eggs I have ever made. Were the galaxy eggs. So I might try some of those this year. We'll see how it works out. Anyway, that's besides the point. I will see you guys. Well, I will see you guys Monday live. But I will see you guys on the tape, of course, Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific. So, yeah, so don't fret. Be sure to be there for the book read. That way you'll be able to read it at your convenience, or listen to it at your convenience for that one.
Just a minute. Michelle, thank you. So Michelle talked to me weeks back. I don't remember. And the woman standing next to you, I described, was your grandmother. I love that. Remember, I just see what I see. I
Right.
can't help it.
Right.
So usually it's not a stranger. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All
Yeah.
right. So if you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We are equal opportunity here at California Haunts Radio. Just trying to get that word out. And I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. And I want to thank everybody on the RSS feed who are going to listen to this. And I want to thank everybody, even their family members who listen to us. All right? So we're going to have a
Mm-hmm.
full week next week. I'll give you Nancy's info, and off we go here. And I'll see you guys live Monday.
Good night.
Websites, nancymatz.com, all lowercase. nancymatzauthor.com, the N, the M, and the A are capitalized. youtube.com/nancymatzpsychic. YouTube, Nancy, Matz, and Psychic, first letters all capped. Help, get me out of this funk. Book by Nancy Matz. Two Worlds, Developing Your Psychic Skills. Book by Nancy Matz. And The Unwilling Sacrifice by Nancy Matz. And you can, of course, get those at Amazon.com. All right, gang. I'll see you live Monday, but I'll see you taped. I'll see you via tape. I can see you. Remember, I'm a bit psychic, you know. Okay, so I can see you. I can see if you're watching Sunday night. No, I'm serious.
Oh, you kid.
Have a
All right.
great
Good
one.
night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. So I will be, you know, one way or another. So you'll see me on Sunday no matter what, but it's going to be a pre-record. And then we're going to have Flat Earth Dave on Monday and be talking Flat Earth Theory. I'm going into bed. Okay. Let's get back on the stream. Okay, oh, dang it. I just realized something.